In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use the healing tools to remove blemishes from a person's face. We're also going to look at how to change eye color, hair color, and other adjustments. Let's get started. So the first thing I want to do is to make a duplicate copy of my background. You always want to make a duplicate copy because if you should make a mistake or mess up to where you don't like it anymore, you can delete that whole layer instead of having to affect your original picture. So you can click on here and click duplicate layer, or you can also right click and you can do duplicate layer that way. Okay, so I've got the background copy going, so I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And I'm going to go over to the healing tool. Now there are several options here. You want to do a healing tool instead of a clone stamp tool, because a clone stamp, when it comes to skin, will leave like a harsh outline. A healing tool is going to blend it. Now you have several options. So you have spot healing tool or healing tool. You also have a patch tool that you could use, but let's look at first the healing tool. So if I'm going to zoom in, Command plus, the healing tool, if you want to adjust your brush size, you can change it here. You can adjust the hardness of it. You can also right click and adjust it. In order to use the healing tool, you have to hit Option and click, and it will sample the skin next to it. And then as you go over it, you can see that it'll allow you to preview what it'll look like, and you can click on it. Now this is a pretty good option. Let's switch so I can show you what the spot healing brush tool does. So with the healing tool, you're the one that chooses what you're sampling from. With the spot healing, it does the choosing for you, which for the most part it works pretty good. I'm going to right click and adjust my size. Sometimes it doesn't give you exactly what you need, and so that's when it's good to manually be able to choose. All right, I'm coming in here and I'm removing blemishes. You want to keep your brush size kind of small, except when you're working with areas like this. Now see how, if I zoom in, you can kind of see that got a little of the yellowness of her skin and it looks kind of patchy. That's probably an area I would have rather done the healing brush tool where I chose the coloring instead of Photoshop choosing the coloring, because I would have probably tried to color correct it over here myself with choosing like her forehead skin. That sounds so gross to say, but that's what I would have done. Okay, so go ahead and take a minute, pause this video, and go ahead and clean up all the blemishes on the rest of her face. All right, if you're back with me, you should have already gotten to the same point I am, which is to remove most of the blemishes off of her face. Let's go ahead and adjust her skin color. So right now you can see she's got a lot of redness in her face itself. You may not notice it up front, but to me it's a little more obvious. I'm going to go up to Layer, and I'm going to do Adjustment Layer, and I'm going to choose Curves. This is the same one we did yesterday. And what I want to do is to remove a little bit of the redness from the picture. So I'm going to select Red, and then I'm going to take and adjust down a little till I feel like that redness went away. And if you want to see the before and after, click the on and off from the visibility icon. You can see where it was a lot redder there, and then it adjusts it and cools it down a little bit more on her face. Now let's play around and have a little bit of fun. So I'm going to click on my background copy, and let's do a selection and then try changing colors. So you remember your selection tools. Let's do Quick Selection Tool, or another one if you're more comfortable with that. And I'm going to go ahead and select both her eyes. I'm holding down Shift to click on this. So now I have both of her eyes selected. Let's play around with adjusting the color. So go to Layer and New Adjustment Layer, which is going to create a separate layer for the adjustment. And let's do Hue and Saturation. Okay, so here we have over here, you can simply play around with adjusting the overall color of her eyes. Let's make her eyes green. You guys could do a different color if you want to. I like the look of the green. I am going to come in here with the eraser tool, and I'm going to clean it up so it's nice and neat, because it goes a little bit up too high for my liking. So I've got to take my eraser size all the way down. All right, pause me, go ahead and adjust the eye color, and then start me when you're done. All right, I now have her eye color adjusted to green, and I went ahead and cleaned up around her eyes so that it didn't look off. All right, now let's come in and let's go ahead and work with a clone stamp tool. Just for fun, I'm going to go back to the background layer and background copy, and I'm going to pick the clone stamp tool, and let's see if we can add some more eyebrows. Why not? Because it's fun. So I want to make sure that my hardness is all the way up so it's not fuzzy or soft. I'm going to give myself a little bit of a a smaller size brush, and then I'm going to select by holding down Option some eyebrows, and I'm just going to fill in her eyebrows a little bit more. All right. You guys can do the same. Not that you have to do it a lot. It's just a fun option to be able to add in a little bit more of the eyebrows, make it a little thicker. There we go. See that I have this repeating pattern? That is not attractive. So I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to make sure that when I fill it in, I don't create this funky pattern. Okay, now let's look at adjusting her lips. So I'm on the background copy. I'm going to do quick selection tool again, unless it leads me astray. And here we go. I'm going to go ahead and adjust the color of her lips just for fun to make them a little bit redder. I'm going to go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, and Curves. And I'm going to go ahead and play around. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean curves. You could use curves actually, but I didn't mean curves. I'm going to do, let me go back to the background copy and select that again. Okay, I'm going to do Layer, New Adjustment Layer, and Hue and Saturation again. And so here I'm going to come in here and let's play around with making her lips. You could do all kinds of colors for fun. How about somewhere in this pink shade? And then if you adjust the saturation, you can make it any kind of shade you want. You can make it lighter or darker. Just play around and have fun. You guys can be as goofy as you want with this. Then I'm going to go in with my eraser tool, and same thing as I did before, go ahead and erase where maybe you shouldn't have had it. There, you got a little sloppy with your selection. I was pretty sloppy with mine. And adjust that. Now that's not the best, but for the sake of time, I'll move on. All right, and the last thing that we can do for our fun project is just to go ahead and select her hair. So I'm going to try the quick selection tool again, see if it works. If it doesn't, it's not bad. It's selected my background too. So I'm going to actually Command D deselects, and I'm going to come up to the magnetic lasso, and I'll just come along the edge of her hair and select that. All right. There, now that I have it selected, let's go ahead and go to Layer and New Adjustment Layer, and we'll do Hue and Saturation again. And you can play around with adjusting the color of her hair. How about some blue hair? That looks fun. And again, once I'm on it, I can use the eraser tool, blend it out. And when it's all said and done, you should have the eye color change, the blemishes removed, lip color change, hair color change, and when you're done, turn it in. And then your next step in this, my next project for you, is to find your own image on the internet of someone's face that you want to adjust and play around with, and go ahead and adjust that face. And then when you're done, turn that in as well. All right, let me know what questions you have.